welcome to the Patterns and Choices 2021 and Beyond podcast.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. And, being across the world, it wouldn't be surprising that there would be a little time glitch.
Out of daylight saving. And, it's like, I think sometimes that, puts a little bit of a spoke in the wheel, so to speak, something that's going around and smoothly. And then, suddenly you think, oh, what's the time? Right. Thank you for your patience with this.
Sure.
Anyhow, Belinda, I'd like to introduce you to my audience. I'm so happy and excited to have you on this on today, because it's we're in some interesting times right now, and I feel that your work is all about is, we're in this place of energy where, you're the expert on this, on the spaces, moving energy so that you can make money. And I just love that phrase. And so let me introduce you to our audience here. So Belinda Mendoza is a certified Feng Shui consultant and law of attraction coach based in Austin, Texas. She has been helping businesses prosper in record time for over 23 years by realigning spaces for profits. And I'll get you to speak into that, Belinda, realigning spaces for profits, because that is huge. And she's a speaker, teacher, and author, and she loves working with busy professionals who work from home. And, I will also introduce to you as my listeners that some great referral partners that Belinda, loves connecting with, business consultants, mindset coaches, marketing, branding, and public relations experts. She can help anyone in the world by phone or Zoom. And I'll give you details at the end of the podcast, because she's got a little offer for you. Well, it's not a little one, it's a big one, but, stay tuned. So, Belinda, welcome once again, and tell us about realigning spaces for profits.
Well, again, thank you, Rebeccah, and it's been a pleasure to meet you. I always want to visit New Zealand. As I said, it's on my bucket list. So when we met, I was thrilled to have a connection. And then you talked to me about your work, and we're very much similar in what we do to help people. So I'm really pleased that you asked me to speak on this subject, which I absolutely love. For 23 years, I've been studying and practicing it, and that's what keeps me interested, because it is so broad a subject and can affect so many different scenarios and people, that it keeps me intrigued and interested. And as you said, the world is changing and it's dynamic, and we need to keep up with those changes. And so what I would like to start with is just my little short little story of how I got into it. And that is that I was in, I'm an ex-social worker, and I landed up going into pharmaceutical, working for Pfizer as a pharmaceutical rep. And then I was in medical device sales for 18 years. And in the latter part of my career, well, most of the career, it was a good old boy network. It was very much all male dominated, very hard for women to be in leadership roles. I did very well in sales, but was never really getting promoted, and made good money, but just wasn't moving up the ladder as one should, based upon results. And when I encountered the art of Feng Shui in the last 4 years of my corporate job, it totally transformed my career. It was just a few changes that my Feng Shui master gave me to do in my home office, and it basically turned my career around And I had more pay raises and promotions in a year period than I had in the previous 10. And I just said, there's something to this. And I wanted to learn more. And so I continued to study and get trained while I was still working. And then after about a year of it, I decided, no, I think I'm ready to move on, because even though I had the money, the recognition, and the accolades, I was missing out on the work-life balance. I didn't have a chance to enjoy the fruits of my labor because the job was so stressful. And I thought being in business for myself, would be a real challenge, but I think it would be a lot of creativity and freedom for me. And so I put the steps in motion in about the year 99 to go ahead and go on my own. And in 2000, I launched my business as a sole entrepreneur. And I've been doing this consulting work ever since, and I've not looked back. And my goal was to really help other people, businesses especially, since I came from the business world, and helping them to achieve record results good results in record time. Because at the end of my career, I was known as the person who turned lagging businesses around.
Wow. Yeah.
I was I was the only woman in leadership at the time. And I had a $13 million region, and it was the top, and we did very well. And so I attribute all of this to the art of Feng Shui. And the art of Feng Shui is not a woo-woo art. It's not a religion. It is basically momentum. We're actually creating momentum where there is otherwise stagnation. And so that can be in anything, in our body, in our homes, in everything. So once I started moving things around, then my career started shifting. And one of the things that my Feng Shui master said to me was, what's going on with your front door? And I said, well, it's stuck. I come in through the garage. And he says, well, I suggest you fix the front door and you start using it, because in the art of Feng Shui, that is the mouth of Qi, or where the energy comes in. And that is also a career life area for your career. And so I did that. And then within days, I got a promotion. And it took me to another division that totally transformed my work. And so that's kind of the idea, is that you're just moving energy so that you can create momentum. And they say to have a good, happy life. Grandmasters would say to have a happy life, successful life, you need three things. You need good karma. Those are the actions that you take every day and the things that you put in the world. The second is good Feng Shui, which is being in your environment or your space and be in harmony with it. And the third is destiny, which we really can't control, but we can control the first two. And then with the art of Feng Shui and intention, which I'll mention later, you have these amazing results. And that's one of the things that I start with when I work with anybody, from a housekeeper, homeowner, to a CEO of a corporation, is to start with an intention. What is it that you really, 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 really want? And write it down, put it in the present tense, because, and don't type it, write it, because our brain functions better when we connect it with our handwriting. And have a vision for what you really want in your life, not what you think you can have, but what you really want. And then from there, you can start to take steps to create movement and Feng Shui, because there's energy and thought. The art of Feng Shui is based on energy. The two words mean wind and water, and it's based on energy, which is the Chinese word is Qi. The Japanese call it Qi. And basically we want to be in harmony with that, because it has its own natural order. And so these are the things that I talk to people about, is, and one of the ways you focus yourself and get started, and a lot of people who do business consulting, or mindset coaching, is maybe create a vision board, or write intentions, or, write your intention and put it on your monitor, or on where you get ready in the morning, so you see what your goal is, and that you put that energy toward it.
I mean, this is a really interesting and a good point here, is writing down what your intention is and your vision, because I feel like when people have asked me, what do I want? It's like, oh my gosh, it's like, um, okay, I've heard this before, and I myself have said it before. Um, I want to be happy. Well, what does that mean? I want to be happy. And it, and perhaps if you can speak into that, because it's a phrase that we, we have somewhere in our subconscious that comes out, and I want to be happy, and I want you to be happy, um, and if we're not happy, we want the other person to be happy. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yes.
have you heard this?
Yes. Well, and the thing with intentions is that there's a couple of things that go with it. People are afraid to ask for what they want because they may get it. And this is subconscious. It's not always a conscious thing. And so they limit themselves. And so that's why I always have people write whatever they want and then say this or better is now coming to me. Because this way you leave it open to the universe to bring you whatever is for your highest good and bring that to you, and you don't limit yourself. And then the other is, like you said, people asking for, when you said, what I really want, somebody might answer by saying, gosh, what don't I want? And that's okay. We'd rather you think big and dream big. But every day have desires for what it is you want, and that can change. But always have a desire toward it. That is what's keeping the momentum going. You don't even have to be so specific. You can just say, I am leading a happy life. And if you're single, I have a really supportive partner in my life right now, and my life is wonderful. And even if none of that is manifesting yet, just putting yourself in what we call that frequency, that vibration, you already start attracting it. Right. So you don't worry about if you're saying the wrong thing, or you're not asking for the right thing, or if you're not, it's just asking for what you desire. And then the key with it is making sure it's in present tense, not like, I hope, I pray someday I will get.
Right. Yes. Right? Those are very, like, this is the other thing is that I hope, and I pray, like you say, and this is where if even, here's a question I'd love to have, you perhaps provide an answer for, if there is one. It's when we know ourselves, how we begin our day with that goal, and we have that desired action that we take, whether it's it doesn't need to be a must do. It can also be a being action, right? Yeah, just be right in that moment, to stay in that frequency. And then when you go to the outside world, or the external world, or your environment, and you hear the expressions, I hope, because here I would be sharing, oh, it's going to be a fantastic day today. And someone might say, I hope so. And sometimes I find it just depends on, where I am in the day. It can make me think, oh, I want to help them shift that. Don't just say, I hope, or I pray. Please join me in saying, I am having a fantastic day. Not even I'm going to have,
Right. Well, I tell people who do a lot of networking, I said, and I say this when I give talks at networking groups, if you walk in and someone asks you, how's your business doing? And you haven't made any money in the last 3 or 4 months, and you're feeling down, and you're feeling a little bit deflated, and you see somebody and they say, well, how's your business doing? You don't want to say terrible. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. You want to say something like, it's great and it's getting better. And I could really use a referral of such and such. So you're being proactive, you're being in the movement, and you can say it's great or it's good and it's moving forward. And if you know someone that does this, please send them my way. Put
do you
yourself
know that
yeah,
that is so useful. Yeah. I mean and this is the thing is to turn that kind of is it I'll put quote unquote a double speak where we say one thing but we are thinking something else. So to practice this, I've been told perhaps to practice it in front of a mirror so that you are looking at yourself and you're not shying away, because body language is another thing, isn't it?
It sure is. Well,
yeah.
it's reflecting your emotions.
Yeah.
And your emotions is where everything is carried. All that energy is carried. And so you know, and it's not even if you're not there yet, you're not feeling, oh, I'm successful and whatever. Just by doing it and getting into the routine of it, you start changing that. Something starts to happen. Somebody will send you a referral. Something will happen to give you an idea to go in a different direction and get you out of the slump.
Yes.
And so it's not just going from A to Z. It's like little steps that are moving you towards your goal. And so that comes later when I talk about what you do when you set up your office space, is that once everything is set up and you're kind of in the flow, then you need to take action, you know, and towards your desires. And that's part of it, because everything is energy.
And, you know, in following the work that you do, you mentioned some in one of your you know, phrases and posts about, you know, even having flowers, you know, they have to be live and not silken flowers that are, you know, when people think, oh, I'll just put these plants that look real, but they're not. And can you speak into that? Because sometimes a lot of home decorations in the way of plants and all of that could be also detrimental for the energy flow. Is that right?
Right. And plants are great. They do so many things. They block EMFs, which is the electromagnetic frequencies of electronics. So they're really good to have in your home because they doesn't harm the plant, but they kind of just deflect those energies. They absorb it as well. And so it's good to have live plants. And the rule in Feng Shui is that the closer the plant is to you, the more real it needs to be, because everything has chi, everything has energy and has an impact on you. And so the closer it is to you, the more it's going to affect you. So I'm not anti-silk flowers if they look real. For example, maybe you have no lighting. Maybe your lighting is poor, and you just have a lot of good color in your home and good lighting, you know, not outdoor lighting that a plant could survive. So you could put like silk ferns on top of a bookshelf, or you could put them on top of a fireplace, or you could have some tulips in a vase if they're like over off in the corner, and they add color, they add energy that way. But generally nothing dried and nothing that doesn't look like the real thing, and has to be of high quality if you are going to do that.
Wow. So you mean high quality in terms of the silk flowers?
Or the material that's made out of, yes.
Yeah, right.
Nowadays, a lot of people are decorating with succulents.
Right, yes.
They look real.
Right.
You know, you can put them in a vase and something, and they look really decorative on a coffee table, and it looks like you've got something there. And that greenery is really nice to have in there. So yeah, but plants are really good, and there's several lucky plants that people will use as well.
And can you give us some names of some lucky plants?
The basic ones are the lucky bamboo, which you can find in grocery stores or you know, Home Depots and things like that. And those are stalks, and you can just put those in a vase with water and little glass beads, and they're really good for health. So you can put them in your bathroom or in your kitchen. And the money plant is a little money tree, and you can just Google that if you're not familiar with it. It comes anywhere from a little plant you can put on your desk to a 6-foot tree.
Right.
You can have one in your living room, or you can have one on your front porch, or you can have one on your desk. And they signify bringing money to you. And long as you water it and you keep it alive and you nurture it, they consider that nurturing and growing your finances.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the third one would be the jade plant, which is a succulent. And they like that because it's got the rounded leaves that look like coins. And then it can blossom and grow into something, but it needs good lighting. So, make sure your plants are thriving. If they're dying off, then make sure they're not, you replace them. The same thing with anything in your house that's not working. It's considered the energy is going away in an area of your life. So if light bulbs are dimming, then you should change them before they go all the way out. If things are broken or windows you can't see out of, you need to clean them so you can see clearly. All of the things in the house that need to be maintained are going to give you better feng shui if they're at optimum.
Right. Now, one of the, since being here in New Zealand, which is not that long that I've been here, a lot of people and businesses have these peace lilies. Have you,
Yes.
the peace lily plant?
Yes. Yes.
What is that? What is the interpretation of that
Peace
for business?
Peace lilies are beautiful. They're green and they bloom a flower. They're very lovely. They're like the bonsais. They're not considered plants to be put in wealth corners or wealth areas because they're considered to be more meditative, more calming. So the energy is more what we call yin instead of yang.
Right. Oh, good.
Don't want to put those necessarily in areas where you're trying to expand finances. Better to use the money tree or the jade. But they're beautiful to put in living rooms or especially you said the peace lily, and what was the other one you mentioned?
It was just a peace lily that I've seen a lot of.
I was saying bonsai. So if you have a meditation space and you have a meditation altar, then that's a good place for peace lilies as well as bonsai plants.
This is really good to know because I think a lot, people look, I guess like myself, we just, look for plants that can kind of take care of themselves, right?
Right.
And I think in busy spaces in the home, it's like, what plant can I have? And it's so interesting you talk about the peace lily in that way because I had the peace lily, this is a while ago, on the table that I work on. And it slowly started, like it wilted and it needed watering so often because it was there. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to shift it and put it back where I originally had it, which was in the place where I kind of go into a meditative space when I'm cooking. And so it thrives there. Would you believe?
Yeah.
It's fantastic there.
And
thanks for sharing that.
Because it's, peace of mind, peace is good for your health.
Yeah.
And so the kitchen, it represents health. And, everything in the home, every object has some symbolic meaning in feng shui because of its chi, as we would call it. And so every time you have something there, I was always amazed. And when I first started learning about feng shui, when I'd hear stories like, this grandmaster can just walk into somebody's bedroom and tell you what's going on with the couple without even asking them anything.
Yeah.
And I didn't really get that, but now I get it because I can tell. Someone tells me they're struggling in their business, they're not making any money, and I go into their office and they have a huge bonsai plant on their desk. And bonsai is very slow moving, slow growing, supposed to be meditative, as opposed to a waterfall, something flowing, bringing in cash, bringing in money, and so there are a lot of things like that. A single woman saying she wants a partner, and you go to her bedroom and there's a picture over her bed of a woman crying.
Right.
And there's flowers next to her bed that are roses that are dead, that they've been there for 2 years. And you ask, why are those there? Well, someone had given to her in a past relationship and he was special, so she didn't want to get rid of them. Well, it's dead energy because they're dead. And so there's been no movement in her life. So these are all things that are very reflective. And they say that when we walk across as practitioners across the what do we call the threshold of someone's home or space, we're kind of walking into their soul. And everything has meaning, whether it's conscious or subconscious. It's placed there for a reason. And that is why clutter is such a big issue in Feng Shui, and is a big principle that if you have a lot of clutter, you're going to have stagnation. You're going to have blocks. So if you have clutter in your office, you're going to slow down money. If you have clutter in your bedroom, you're going to slow down relationship issues or enhancements. If you have clutter in your refrigerator, in your kitchen, you're going to have health issues. It has a lot to do with slowing down energy and just kind of stopping it.
Well, it's so funny you talk about clutter in the fridge, because I just think when I can see everything in my fridge, and like sometimes my family might come around, or friends, and say, excuse me, your fridge looks almost empty. And I think, oh, that's how I like it. Yeah, because in the sense that I can see and replenish as and when ready. And when it's filled with things, I feel like, oh, I've got to use it up immediately. Otherwise it's got to go, And so, yeah, totally hear that message.
Yeah, well,
there.
I just did a video on YouTube on Feng Shui for losing weight. And that was the main premise, was that, if you have a lot of clutter in your fridge, it's a lot of weight on you. And so lighten up the area, do a spring cleaning on your kitchen, get rid of expired items, make sure you have just things that look nice in your fridge, like fresh fruit or, a pitcher with juice in it, some color, but not overly done, have it light and airy so that you feel lighter. It'll help you with your weight loss efforts if that's something you're wanting.
That's a beautiful extra bonus tip here, because that's a very interesting thing for a lot of women in businesses who have and entrepreneurs who talk about also wanting to lose weight, right?
Yes.
And it isn't just we're not just looking at physical weight, but it's also what mentally weighs people down and emotionally. And this is a great thing. Why not start with what's around you, and in the fridge as well, in the pantry.
Well, and I don't think anybody that's trying to lose weight doesn't know how.
Right.
I think everybody knows what they need to do, but there's something holding them back from doing it. And so it's an emotional thing, as you said. It's very much there. And so Feng Shui is one of those kind of ways of being able to kind of address it, because it makes you think. Because I mentioned in the video, and this is on YouTube, that your attic is your aspirations in life. So if it's full of stuff, furniture, stuff, you just can't even get in your attic, then that's weight on your body.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. And then those people that live in parts of the country that have basements and that's full, that's your past.
Wow.
So you're dragging that around.
Right.
So if you're dragging around 50 pounds and you're doing everything you can, you're working out, you're eating well, you're sleeping good, but your efforts are just not moving, it can very well be the weight in your home.
Wow. Brenda, you've just shared, some valuable, I feel, it seems almost sensible, common sense tips here. But, it's so interesting how, because we've been in this fast pace of life for so long, there have been habits that have been created unconsciously, and then become part of the subconscious patterning. And I just think that what you've spoken into, even though there's so much, like you say, you can go into with a particular scenario, I think the point is that just guiding people with the steps that they need to just create success, because it's all in what actions you're taking. And I think, these things, I got interested in Feng Shui, and I'm so fortunate to have met you. And, with the kind of background you've come from, I just think, this is what we can look forward into creating rhythm, flow, and success,
Yes.
So what we've come up to our half hour here, and I just like to share with the audience here that, this is really valuable information that Belinda is sharing with us. And perhaps you're doing some of it already. But what I would really encourage you to do is take advantage of Belinda's offer to you as my listener, which is a complimentary 30-minute money-making phone session. And for this, you can email Belinda at design4energy@gmail.com. Now, the design is spelled DESIGNFORENERGY@gmail.com. And please connect with Belinda for your session, and then see what else she can do for you. It's going to be amazing.
Well, and I appreciate that. And it did go way too fast for us, because one of the things that I spend most of my time doing since COVID is helping busy professionals who work from home. And so it can be, looking at their space and helping them look at what it is they're wanting and how can we move things around in their workspace so that they can get better results. And there's a lot of things that, can be. And so a Zoom session with me on that alone can be very beneficial to someone. If they want to go further and do their whole home, we can do that by phone, by Zoom as well.
Yes,
but
right.
At least doing the home office is a really important part. And then the one thing I didn't mention, we talked about clutter being important, and that you take action on your desires. Every day, do something towards what it is you're desiring in your business or your goal, because that adds momentum and creates that. It's not that we hang a wind chime in the corner and then you win the lottery, although you can. It's that you're putting energy in a part of an area that needs it, and you're taking action, like you're going out there and you're feeling good about it. You're playing the lottery, not expecting anything other than to have fun.
Yes, the lottery of life, right?
Yes.
I love this. Well, thank you so much, Belinda. And I feel that we should have another meeting again on the podcast.
That'd be
great. And, I really feel that we've, my audience and also any people want to join our audiences to hear what steps we can take going forward is in today's wonderful, wonderful way to go. So thank you so much, Belinda. And
thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
It was my pleasure.
Stay on the line, and I'll contact you Messenger. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.